Hi guys, so I'm here with your next lesson. Yesterday we did a lesson of guided drawing of a fish, and then you guys used markers and water to kind of turn it into a watercolor. So we're going to use that same idea, the same basic shapes for the guided drawing for the fish in today's project. We're going to do something called a collagraph. It's a type of printmaking. So we're going to put together a fish on a piece of cardboard, just like a cereal box or something, and then in the end we're going to do a crayon rubbing of it. So that's where we put it underneath a piece of paper, rub over the top with crayon, and the image comes through. So what you're going to need for today is some sort of empty food box, cereal box, box from crackers or cookies or popcorn, anything like that. Thin cardboard is fine. You're going to need scissors, glue, either glue stick or white glue, either one works. Tape would probably work too, so whatever you have at home is fine. And then for the crayon rubbing, you're just going to need a white piece of paper and some crayons. Old crayons is fine because we need the paper off. And something to draw with, probably a pencil, marker, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so here are the steps. So like I said, you need some sort of cereal box or cracker box. This works perfect. You're going to cut it up. So you're going to follow the seams and cut this box apart. If you follow the fold lines, then you're fine. So you're going to open it, cut on all the fold lines, cut the flaps off. Hold on to every piece of cardboard that you cut though, because we can use all of it. So you want to get it down so you have a rectangle like this. You actually need two of them. Okay, one's going to be a background and one's going to be for our fish. So you want two pieces just like this. See, this is from cereal. Okay, so what you're going to do first is take your cereal box and something to write with. On here is where we're going to draw our fish. We're not going to do all the details like we did yesterday. We are just doing the outline of the body of the fish and the tail fin. That's it. Okay, so as a reminder, the body of the fish is just a big oval. Okay, big oval. That's all you need. And then we're going to do the tail fin. So that's where you do the line up and the line down. Line up and line down. And then you connect these with your number 3. Like this. So you have your number 3 right there at the back. That's all we're going to do on this. Okay? We don't want to do other details. So now what you're going to do is take your scissors and cut this fish out so it's like this. Then you're going to take your extra piece of cardboard and you're going to glue, it doesn't matter which side you use, doesn't matter. You're going to glue your fish down to the other, I'll do it this way because it's kind of confusing, down to the other piece of cardboard. This is our background. It's going to hold everything together for us, and then you're going to glue your fish on. Okay? I'll do this one. So you just do a little glue. I use a glue stick. That's what I like the best. Glue your fish down like this. I'm going to erase some of these lines so you're not so confused. And you want to hold and press. If you're using white glue, you'll have to hold for a little bit longer before that gets really tacky. So you're going to hold it down like this. So you're going to have your background and then your fish. Now we're going to start adding our details to our fish. Because when we do the crayon rubbing, we're going to want as many details on here as we can get so the crayon picks those up. So your top fin and your bottom fin, if you remember yesterday, they're basically just triangles. Okay? So think of basic shapes when we were putting our fish together. So our fins are going to be triangles. So if you take some of this extra pieces that was cut off, you can take your pencil. If you need help, you can certainly ask someone at home to help you. Maybe they can draw the shapes and you can cut them out. Whatever works for you. You can draw your triangles for your fins and cut those out. save all the pieces because you never know when you could use some of them. So then you're going to glue your fins on. And you want to make sure everything kind of fits on this background piece. Okay, so there's our fins, top fin, bottom fin. You can do the eye. The eye is just a circle. So you can draw a circle, cut it out of your cardboard, glue that on like that, so you have an eyeball. And now, if you take some of these other scraps that you have and you cut them up into basic shapes. So our basic geometric shapes are triangles, rectangles, squares, circles, ovals, think shapes like that. So you can cut these pieces down smaller and then start cutting stuff out of them. So for my fins, to add detail, I'm going to add some lines or stripes. So the easiest way to do that is take one of these pieces and cut them into really thin strips. So you have a bunch of these really thin strips that you can use for details. And then for the scales, I'll show you how to glue those on in a second. For this middle part, we want to add detail. So I think I'm going to do squares because those you can turn into different directions. So take some of these pieces, cut them down into squares. They do not have to be perfect. Cutting through cardboard takes a lot of hand muscle, so don't worry about them being perfect. So now I have a bunch of these squares that I can use for different things. And then you're just going to start gluing on details. My suggestion is to take them before you glue and kind of set them on and make a plan, because you can always move these around while you're trying to figure it out. But if it's glued on, it's much harder to move. So I can play around with these, put them down, find how I like them. And then once I have it planned out like I like, then I can start gluing. So here is one that I did already that's finished. So I did my fins, top fin, I did 2 bottom fins. I did those thin little lines that I cut out on all the fins. And then these are my squares. And I just turned them back and forth and turned some into diamonds like this. I cut a line or a curve for the mouth, and I did 2 circles for the eyes. So I did a big one and then I glued a little one on top. Because the more detail, the better. That's what our crayon is going to pick up. So anything you want to add onto your fish, add on. If you want to put stuff in the background, you can absolutely put stuff in the background. Maybe you want some bubbles or some seaweed. You can be as creative with this as you want. But I think I'm going to leave mine like that. I could do this all day and add tons of details on here, which I'm sure some of you can as well. But once you're happy with it, what you're going to do, this is where we're going to do the crayon rubbing. So you are going to take your white piece of paper and set it on top of your fish. Now, if it's easier, you can tape your cardboard to the table, just a couple pieces to hold it in place for you, because you really need this and the paper to stay still so you get a nice rubbing of it. Then you're going to set your paper on top, and now you're going to take your crayons. Whatever kind of crayons you have is fine, but you want to take the paper off. So I have red and green here, and mine are broken. These are really old crayons, but that works. This works perfect for that. But you want the paper off because we're going to use the side of the crayon. We're not going to hold it like we normally would a crayon and color that way. We're going to use the side of the crayon to do this. So I'm going to do green, I think. So, like I said, you want everything to stay as still as possible. So one hand is going to hold the paper really, really still. The other hand is going to be doing the work with the crayon rubbing. So you're going to set the crayon on the paper like that, flat, and then hold it, and you're just going to push back and forth with your crayon. And the details, whoops, the details of your fish start to come through. You want to press pretty hard so you see the edge of the fish and the lines. Oh, my crayon broke in half. I'm pressing so hard. That's okay. It still works. So I got everything on this side of my hand. Now, it's really important for this to stay still. So now I'm going to hold it with this hand, move this hand over here, and then finish my crayon rubbing. And if you notice, what works for me is to start in one spot and push out. Going back and forth makes the paper move a little bit. So if you just stay in one spot and push out, then it works a little bit easier for you. You might not be able to see mine with this angle, but the details are all coming through. I'll hold it up in just a second. Now I need to move my hand again. So I'm going to move over here because I need to get the bottom of these fins. There they are. You'll probably get the edge of your background too. That's okay. We can trim, not a big deal. So once it's done like you like it, you think the whole fish is coming through, then you can take your paper up and you have a rubbing of your fish that looks really, really cool. And here's that line that I was talking about of the background. You could just trim that off if you wanted to. Now, a couple things. You can leave your picture just like this and it looks awesome. Or if you wanted to, you could go back in with another color of crayon and add details and color in other areas. So maybe I want some of these fins to be, or scales to be red instead of green. So I could come in with my red crayon and color in a few of them with my red crayon. Just go right over the top of the green. And it'll add a little bit more color to your picture. You could do any extra colors that you wanted to. Orange and red, whatever you wanted to. And if you didn't have room on your cardboard to do seaweed and that kind of stuff, now would be a chance that you could do it. So you could come in with another color and add seaweed over here in the corner. Let me see if I can have it dark green. And you can hold your crayon like you normally would. Do the squiggles up and the squiggles down like we said. And add seaweed to your picture now if you wanted to. Okay? These are going to look awesome. So that was a collagraph, and then we did the crayon rubbing of it. It's a type of printmaking. The nice thing is that this is reusable. So you can do as many of these as you want in lots of different colors. Okay? But what I want you to do, don't throw this part away. Hold on to this, because tomorrow I'm going to show you something else really cool that you can do with this part, okay? So hold on to your cardboard fish until tomorrow so we can use this again in the next lesson. If you do any of these, just like I said with the guided drawing, hold on to them so in case we do that virtual art show, we can see some of your projects, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me see your finished results if you do them. I'd love to see them. Have a great day.